Tarkov. EFT, short for Escape From Tarkov, is one of those games for me that always sounds like fun to play, but anytime I get the urge to play it, it's 3 months into wipe, I'm completely outgeared and outgunned by all the people still playing, and 9 out of 10 times I'm going against another PMC. They have level 5 or 6 armor, and the bullets you can buy at low level are like Nerf darts. You know, unless you're stuffing your barrel down their throat.
How are you, man? This is kind of awkward.
But I'm gonna keep it real with you. I'm not one of those chads running around with a pistol one-tapping heads. I play Tarkov like an absolute pussy. I hear footsteps and I rethink all my life decisions that got me there, and I start asking myself shit like, should I even push? Is it worth the push? Am I about to get absolutely railed by someone running a gun that costs 2 times my net worth? You know, just shaking and shitting my pants in a corner. Dude, a fair gunfight is already hard enough for me, okay? A fair gunfight is not something I succeed in normally, let alone against dudes trying to find the last few items for Kappa. When I'm playing games, I'm normally smoking that shit that made Stevie Wonder. My reflexes are not 100% there. So Tarkov has always been one of those games I enjoy watching as opposed to actually playing it. That was until recently. Welcome to SPT. SPT AKI is a single-player modification for Tarkov. It makes it completely playable offline with progression and mod support, which is practically unheard of for an always online MMO RPG type of game like this. You know, until recently, I guess. Well, that's if you count paying $100 extra on top of the $150 you spent if you got EOD before it was taken down, and if you also count waiting in 10-minute queue times to just play by yourself, but we'll get to that later. Before I even continue talking about this, let me say you need to own a copy of Tarkov. Don't let me catch you using this as a way to illegitimately play the game, or I'm going to throw an impact nade at your feet. This has been a great and accessible way for me to work my way through the quests at my own pace, you know, have fun and tweak things to not be as ball-bustingly difficult, so I can just smoke some of that electric Zon, not sweat my nuts off. Before I even get into showing some mods, let me tell you this. Modify the game in any way you see fit. It's your game. The way you mod your game doesn't affect anyone but yourself. So if you want to run around with God mode on, stomping everything in sight, do it. If you want to make it into an even more difficult experience where you're fighting tooth and nail to get out with what you've collected, do it. That's the beauty of modding a single player game. You make the experience you want, and SPT is no different. So if you're interested in playing, I'd recommend going to the site and getting the automated installer linked below instead of doing it yourself. It makes it super easy to get started. And if you go straight from installing the game to playing, you might notice a few things like PMCs basically just being souped up scavs, flea prices being off, etc, etc. We're going to remedy many of the base mods issues with more mods. To start off, I'm going to list some of the mods that I feel like are essential to making single player Tarkov a much more amusing experience. A man's graphics makes it so you can actually see more than 30 feet in front of you. It's much more complex than I'm letting on, but ever since I installed it, it hasn't left my mod list. Sane. If you've played any amount of Tarkov, you know the AI isn't the smartest, and Sane assists in making them act in more unique ways. Bots will have distinct personalities like real players. Some will sit in corners making no noise waiting for your body to come into their sights, and others will push you at the sound of a medkit being used or a mag being pulled out of your gun. It makes combat way more interesting. Swag plus donuts and its dependencies. This is a 2-in-1 special. Swag helps with keeping raids alive past the first few minutes by spawning enemies in waves, and donuts adds dynamic spawn points so you'll have fights in more places than SPT normally allows with its limited spawn points. Looting bots and questing bots. Looting bots makes it so AI will actually pick up stuff, and depending on how long you're in raid, enemies will basically turn into loot pinatas. I do recommend turning looting off for normal scavs, because I read that they'll just vacuum up loot and despawn with all of it. But if I'm being honest, I haven't noticed much of a difference with having it on or off. Questing bots makes it so the AI will attempt to go to questing locations. I feel like this is basically mandatory for tasks that tell you to kill stuff at certain locations. If you do have this mod installed, do not install AI limiter as it conflicts with it, and it also has an AI limiter built in. Live flea prices makes it so the prices on the flea market are accurate to current in-game prices. Winter mode, not essential, but snow. Most mods that have configurable options can be tweaked in-game with the F12 menu. And Sane can be tweaked by pressing F6. Alright, here's the big kicker. Let's talk about performance. If your PC struggles to run Tarkov in the first place, good luck getting this shit to work. On top of the game running in the first place, you're also running the server too. So your PC is doing all the calculations for every single little thing. So if you install something like Swag Donuts, expect a worse frame rate if you have bot hard cap off, or if you're using limits that are high. My i7 9700K squeals whenever I play, but fuck you, CP, you want to play some Tarkov. This also brings me back to the Unheard edition. You won't get as big of a performance hit because despite the fact that they say offline progression, you're still connecting to BSG servers. So this is nice because it takes the load off of your PC, but you're also still just playing on BSG servers. You can't modify anything that makes single player Tarkov so great. I don't want to take too much more of your time, so I'm just gonna flash the mods I use on screen. Bam, mods folder. Bam, plugins folder. And before I wrap this little thing up, I am not tech support. I can't help you with everything that goes wrong in your install of SPT. If you have a problem, Google it, because 9 out of 10 times, you're not the only person that has had this issue. Google is your best friend for a process like this. Oh yeah, something else that also helps. Reading. Please read. I try to reply to all the comments, but if it's something along the lines of, hey man, I get errors in the console every time I try to start the server. Here's my mod list that consists of mods you've never used or installed. I legitimately cannot help you, but you know who can? Google.com. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed it, and if I didn't inform you about something that you wanted to know, I hope I at least gave you a little smirk or a slight chuckle. I'm C-Syrup. It's been real. Take care of yourselves. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace. Oh yeah, if a certain man named Lua is watching this, update the gotcha box trader, please. I just want to gamble.
I can't. Expensive. Because I used to use Dash Pass. I used to use Dash Pass for students, but now I just use